In my paper, I talk about how we need to be the generation that accurately represents all races in the judicial system. So I talk about how equality is basically the foundation of the justice system. In paragraph 2, I start to talk about how in America today we say that we have a racial caste system. A racial caste system, or the caste system, initially was created in India, and it's basically an unwritten law stating that certain people are born into certain roles in their life, no matter how great or how awful you can be educationally or any other way. You're placed in the pyramid where your heredity puts you. And I included the quote, "There is no contradiction in the bold claim by Thomas Jefferson that in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, if Africans were not really people." In paragraph 3, I start to talk about how people in today's society judge people solely based on their race, no matter how much education they have or how well they are credentialed. So you could be if you are a white person and you see an African American, not all, but most white people are going to just consider them as an African American. It doesn't matter if they're a wealthy lawyer or if they are a convenience store owner. In paragraph 4, I start to talk about how once a person is convicted for a crime, their life becomes very difficult because if they ever do have the chance to get out of jail, their chances of ever gaining their life back completely is nearly impossible for many reasons, such as the mental trauma you go through and also the paper trail that follows you all around forever. In paragraph 5, I talked about how in the book The New Jim Crow, Alexander talks about how whites would dehumanize blacks in such ways as calling them savages in order to make them feel better about how they treated them. I said that I included the quote when Alexander says, "When we say someone was treated like a criminal, what we mean to say is that he or she was treated like less than a human, like a shameful creature. Hundreds of years ago, our nation put those considered less than a human in shackles. Less than 100 years ago, we regulated them to the other side of town. Today, we put them in cages. Once released, they find that a heavy hand has been laid upon them." In paragraph 6, I talk about how the criminal justice system is unfair, and there's so many statistics to prove it. I question why no one does anything about it, and I talk about how some of the statistics are that white students overall use drugs and do drugs and sell drugs a lot more than African American teens. And then in paragraph 7, I just summarize my whole essay basically and talk about how if we don't start equally representing all races, that we're going to continue filling our jails and juvies with minor crimes while we have white criminals walking around free because of their race. And ignoring the fact that we do not equally represent all races will eventually show and enrage so many people. I believe that it would cause more damage than justice if we continue to run our country the way we are now. And I believe that we can make a change, but it would require more than just my class and myself to make that change. It would require many, many people, specifically white men, because they have the overall say. And that's my paper.